Gotta take a look at this guy. I mean, so take a look, okay? I mean, I guess he would look normal if he didn't tilt his head. He's tilting his head. That kind of makes me a little bit suspicious. Like, oh, he's a nice guy. He's got the howdy doody smile. He seems like a decent guy, right? Investing Simplified. Professor G. Okay, well, maybe he's a professor. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This is the typical story of the fraudsters, right? I was so frustrated, and I learned on my own. You see this? So where's your expertise from? Did you work on Wall Street, right? Just like Tom Nash telling you he's an analyst for more than 10 years or 13 years or whatever, and he never shows you a single fucking research report that he ever wrote. Did any of these idiots that follow him ever get suspicious, ask questions? No. And you know why? Like I always say, folks, if you're greedy, you're going to get conned. You can't get conned if you're not greedy. It's these greedy motherfuckers, to some extent, they deserve to lose their ass. You're not going to get conned if you're not greedy, unless you're extraordinarily stupid. Usually it's a combination of both. But greed, I think, is the most powerful factor in being conned. You don't ask the right questions. You have to play devil's advocate. So his goal is to set you up for success by making investing in personal finance much more simple. Let me just reiterate what I've said many times before. Personal finance, that whole industry is boiler room. It's a scam. It's not needed. It's a fucking scam. Anybody promoting personal finance, write it down. They're a scam artist that offers no value. Now, you're going to find some people out there that are going to say, no, but it helped me. Well, you're just a fucking stupid, lazy idiot who doesn't want to pick yourself up off your ass and help yourself. You want to hear people tell you things. That's not helping. Folks, if you're not providing unique value, you can't be promoting yourself, positioning yourself as an expert, charging money. Okay, telling people to cut up their fucking credit card like all these personal finance people do and to watch their debt, to pay off their debt and invest in the stock market or whatever, that's not expertise. Nobody should ever get paid for that. You understand? And a lot of this problem, let me just mention, this whole thing about all these kids focusing on money, I want to make money and I want to do this and this. This is from Robert Kiyosaki. I warned people about this a long time ago. They've created this, I need financial education. No, you don't need financial education. That's a fucking scam. You need to learn real skills to get a real career and get a real job to provide value to society. Think about if everybody's focused on making money. Everybody's focused on being a YouTuber and an influencer. So we have a society of parasites that don't provide any value? You understand? All you kids out there, you were hearing all this horse shit about, I need to get financial education. That's horse shit. You don't need it. I never had it. Focus on your life. Focus on getting real skills, real education, formal education. Focus on your family. They want you to focus on this shit so they can sell you their horse shit, their courses. You don't need no financial education. Make the fucking money. You'll figure out how to spend it, how to invest it when you make it. Okay? I mean, no one's going to tell you this because it would completely negates the whole personal finance industry. That's what I've done. This is why, of course, all these charlatans in personal finance, and they're all charlatans, they give typically bad advice. Bad advice and common sense. Bad advice and common sense. I mean, think about it. Suze Yorman, she's a proven fraud. Proven fraud. Dave Ramsey, total scam artist. David Buck's an interesting one. He's kind of tried to change his image, make him seem legitimate. He's a scammer too. Don't be fooled. I remember seeing him on fucking 2 a.m. infomercials with, I want to say Dean Gracioso. This is like 10 years ago. Folks, anyone who's out there who's not really providing real value, like unique value, like expertise, like top level expertise, they're a scammer. They're trying to, it's the whole fake it till you make it, right? The whole fake it till you make it. Once again, always ask yourself, why is this person qualified to be speaking on this topic? Why are they qualified? Why do they think they can charge money for this? You understand? Okay? So I took a look at this guy's channel. He's not a professor, so he calls himself Professor G. That's also a scam tactic right there. It's kind of like this one guy. Maybe some of you heard of him. I may eventually cover him. He calls himself Tony Huge. Doctor. He calls himself a doctor. He's a fucking scammer. He basically sells fucking steroids and illegal fucking drugs and brainwashes kids to think they can pump themselves up with bullshit drugs and that there's no ramifications. And he pretends like he's like a former bankruptcy attorney. FYI, like bankruptcy attorney doesn't get much lower than that. That's like the lowest of the fucking scale when you're like a loser in law school, okay? If you can imagine. Other than like this one guy on YouTube, this Mr. Law guy, Mr. Attorney. Folks, real attorneys, real professionals aren't on fucking YouTube. They're fucking failures, okay? Who's that guy? That guy, you can tell him I said so. Tell him I fucking say he's a fake attorney is what he is. Yeah, he may have a law degree. Doesn't mean he's a real fucking attorney. Real attorneys got real fucking business, okay? You know, it's funny. I was actually looking for because I'm thinking like, you know what, I'm going to start for the first time. I'm going to get my taxes done. I'm going to get me a CPA and handle stuff so I don't have to deal with it anymore. So I was actually looking for a CPA firm, and I can't get anybody to call me back. They've got, firms with nothing but, why? Because they're like so legitimate. They're working with fucking big time clients. They don't want to deal with fucking individuals. They're like working with big time fucking, big corporations and shit. You see? But anyway, so let's take a look at this guy. Once again, how is he qualified? He's not qualified. He wants to sell you ads. I'm sure he's got courses. Let's see. We'll see. So let's take a look at this video. Let's listen. Let's both listen together. Tell me if we're going to get an echo here. If we get an echo, let me know. I'll just lower the volume. And let's see how high it is. Okay. Let's listen to what he has. So he's buying this stock like crazy afternoon. Folks, let me just tell you, I've never done anything like this, and I never would. It's clickbait horseshit. Who are you? Like, who cares what you're buying? Notice he's got the Ty Lopez thing. Look at the books in the background. You all didn't notice that, did you? Look, his book. Oh, he's read the books. But his problem is take a look at the book on the right. Rich Dad. You know he's a fucking idiot and scammer. Anybody that falls for that shit is a lemming. That's who you're listening to. You're listening to a Robert Kiyosaki little clone boy. Okay? Where's my books, boy? You don't got my books? You're fucking stupid. You're out of the game. You're out of the loop. Okay? So, look at this in the background. Sometimes you win, sometimes you earn. That tells you where this guy's head is. He's a money worshiper. You got it, folks? I just saw this for the first time. You see how I quickly caught how this guy's a scammer? I looked at the title, looked at his little ploy in the background. It's just obvious. Now, so let's listen to the video because he's telling us now. I mean, I'm curious. He's got inflation's coming. He's buying it like crazy. Gosh, I mean, I'm a world authority. I'm not quite sure what stock I would buy like crazy just because of CPI inflation data. Because after all, I mean, let's assume that this is not even, I mean, think about it. The new data. Let's take a look at the date here. So this is the recent data. Well, fairly recent data, okay? So now I do research and I can tell you there was no like recent data that was caused me or should cause anyone to think that anything has changed. This clickbait title makes you think that all of a sudden the game has changed. You all understand what I'm saying? Keep in mind, you all know I do research, okay? And so I'm very familiar. There's been no inflation data that's been actually, now you may have heard some things recently. Maybe he's probably listening to the media because they hyped up some things a few weeks ago, which is complete horseshit. Nothing has changed. The trajectory for inflation with regards to rates and so forth has not changed. Of course, you all aren't going to know this, probably. So you're thinking that, oh my God, this inflation data, the data that came out, something has changed so much that he's going to buy this stock like crazy. Now, if you've got at least half a brain, you should be able to take a close look at this Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad book and say, okay, fuck, this guy's a scammer. He's a clueless scammer. Remember, why are you going to listen to some guy about something serious like investing? Right? He better be big swinging fucking dick. Confirmed, not because everyone says so, not because the media tells you so, because if you think that, then you're going to listen to Peter Schiff, right? You're going to listen to Ray Dalio. You're going to listen to Jeff Gundlach. You may even listen to Tony Robbins because the media is telling you he's an expert in media and in investments too, right? You understand? You verify based upon your own work. And if you're not able to do that, that's fine. If you're too stupid, that's fine. It's okay. You know what the solution is? The solution is you're out of the game to ever deal with anything in investments other than buying the S&P 500. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you can't even do the most basic thing to determine with confidence if someone's legitimate, truly legitimate, okay, not because the media said so, because you've seen the evidence, then you're not in the game. You're not in this game at all. You buy the S&P. And you know what? You're probably going to do better anyway. In fact, I'm willing to bet you're going to do better anyway. Okay? These are facts, folks. These are the facts. Anybody out there want to go find your favorite expert guru? You think they're going to try and challenge what I'm saying? Remember, I'm the guy that worked at UBS. I'm the guy that worked at Bear Stearns. I'm the guy that advised very wealthy individuals and also some not so wealthy people, you know, very wealthy. I had Fortune 100 clients. I had CFO clients who I advised personally. I was also working as a merchant banker. I advised multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, mutual fund managers, actually, and pensions, endowments. That's fact. Write it down. I brought in that business on my own, by the way. It wasn't as if I'm, you know, if you all don't know the financial industry, the brokerage business, okay, I brought that shit in on my own. And I also advise corporate treasury departments, okay? So I probably know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this stuff. Probably do, right? Probably do. Now, if it all went past you, go back and listen to the recording. I'm just telling you, you listen to what I'm saying, and you're going to do much better in your life. And honestly, most of you just should buy the S&P and forget all this bullshit. Think about the time you could devote your personal life. You can even use that time you would be spending otherwise probably tens of thousands of hours over your lifetime listening to financial content, thinking you're going to get an edge, trying to do research, so on and so forth. Instead, you could have actually gotten another degree or gotten some type of a certification to open a new business or spent quality time with your family. Okay, remember, if you're spending all this time taking in all this content, believing all these scammers, thinking you're going to get an edge against people like me, you fucking delusional. Okay? You're on the losing side of the trade. You're on the losing team. I'm on the fucking all-star team. Got it? Don't waste your time. Don't waste your effort. Buy the S&P and recapture several years of your life you would have otherwise wasted and probably a lot of money that you would have thrown down the drain. This is the fact. Folks, this is what needs to be told. This is the storyline, the pitch, the narrative that needs to be communicated. Why am I not on these big channels? Right? Why doesn't CoffeeZilla have me on his channel? Because he's a fucking fraud. Why am I not on Joe Rogan's channel? Folks, because, as I said before, The establishment saw me as a threat a long time ago when I tried to warn everyone about the financial crisis, tried to warn everybody about how free trade was destroying working in middle-class America, how the healthcare system is designed to make everyone go bankrupt in America. And as I mentioned before, if you don't know this, you can check it out. I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked the stat in probably 10 years, but I'm sure it's not changed any. Most of the personal bankruptcies every year in America, write it down, most of the personal bankruptcies every year in America are due to failure to pay medical bills, inability to pay medical bills. And guess what? Guess what? You say, well, people don't want to pay their insurance. 75% of the people who filed for medical bankruptcy had full medical insurance. That just kind of gives you a picture, a little hint of how much scams are in the healthcare system in America. I mean, I wrote a fucking book detailing the whole thing, exposing the whole fucking thing. It's a complete scam. Okay? People like me, folks, will never get exposure. You understand? You understand how many scammers I threaten to expose? I mean, the industries. Anybody remember what happened to Tom Cruise 20 years ago? And of course, today, Tom Cruise with these Gen Zs and millennials, they hate him. They think he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. Why? Because back 20 years ago, you can find the video, I'm sure, on ScamTube with Matt Lauer. Tom Cruise gets on Matt Lauer and he starts talking about how the pharmaceutical industry is full of shit. And he specifically talked about the antipsychotics. And he's right. Yeah. Is Tom Cruise a wacko? Is he a Scientologist wacko? You know, I don't know. But I know one thing. Scientology obviously is full of shit. They're scammers. Okay. I can't speak to what they've told him, how they may have brainwashed him, whatever. But that doesn't mean that he's not right when he talks about the antipsychotic drugs, the tricyclic antidepressant drugs. The antidepressant drugs are the biggest fucking scam in medicine. Okay? They're a fucking fraud. I'm not going to even get into that. But the point is that he was talking about how these drugs for ADHD, right? The ADHD drugs like Ritalin, how they're terrible and how they're giving these dosages for kids. They're not even approved for children, the dosages, so on and so forth, and how the drugs don't really heal you. They just kind of numb you, right? And so he was focusing on the antidepressants, basically. And he brought up Brooke Shields and all this stuff. And he was correct. And guess what happened? You all don't know this. You don't remember. After that, our friend Sumner Rothstein, I'm sorry, he changed the name. The name he changed is Redstone. You may know Redstone. His real name is Rothstein. But Mr. Redstone, the Universal, he dropped Tom Cruise. He dropped Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise no longer had the ability to make any movies. Why? Why? Because think about it, folks. Tom Cruise is a big star. Big time. He's one of the biggest grossing box office stars ever. He's got to be top 10, top 5 probably. He's an influential person. So think about it. Universal is media. If you got this guy who's a big time Hollywood star, right? And he's telling you about the drug companies and the drug industry, how it's kind of a scam. And I'm not here to say the drug industry is a scam. Don't mince my words. Some of these pandemic scammers, okay? Some of these COVID scammers with all their conspiracies. The pharmaceutical industry provides a lot of great value, okay? But it's not perfect by no means, okay? And the point is that they spend a lot of money, a shitload of money on advertising. In fact, they spend more money on advertising than they do on R&D. You don't have to believe me. You can believe an expert on that. I forgot her name. She was a former editor of the New England Journal of Medicine. Marcia Angel. She was the editor, a physician, and she fucking quit when she realized that the medical journals are basically bullshit. They're all bought off. The research is bought off. That's why I've talked about how these journals articles, most of them are bullshit. They're bought and paid for. But she wrote a book where she talked about how the most of the money is spent in sales and marketing, not research. So this is why Tom Cruise, he got smacked down. And Tom Cruise, of course, he was big enough where he could go independent, and he's recovered from that. And but he's not with a big name, right? That's why, because he exposed this shit. Me, I was never a big name. They cut me down in the beginning. You understand? If you expose anything, okay, right? I mean, you can look at some other people, which I probably can't even say the name of this rapper, right? I can't say the name because, I mean, right? This rapper guy who started talking about, what he's talking about, and all of a sudden, right? Got it. Of course, what happens to him? His $1 billion fucking empire collapses overnight because of that. I guess he's too stupid to realize. I mean, look, if you're a fucking rapper and you realize all this shit, it's pretty obvious what's going on. Even he realizes it, and he ain't no fucking genius. Nobody in music's a genius. Don't ever let anyone tell you he's a genius. No, he's not a fucking genius. Nobody in the arts is a genius. Genius is for science. The end. Okay. But of course, he kind of comes back and reneges everything after he wants to release an album. Right. So anyway, let's get to this guy. Now let's listen to what he has to say. After we already know he's a scammer, he's not an expert, he's a fucking clown, he's a Robert Kiyosaki clone. Let's hear what he has to say.
The new CPI data announcement has just come in via Fed Chair Jerome Powell, and this was a very big announcement. One stock category...
No, it wasn't. Shut your fucking mouth. I'm the expert here. Shut up. You're a fraud. You're making money selling advertisements based upon fake news, disinformation. That is fraud.
In the stock market is going to explode in the very near future. And we heard earlier this month that inflation has died down a bit, so there was no surprise there, but we also have heard that says that...
By the way, let me just mention something, how YouTube is such a scam. And of course they get away with it because they're owned by the mafia. You notice all these people on YouTube, like this guy, for instance, he's posting these pictures. These pictures are all copyright protected. He's making money off of showing videos that have copyright protected pictures. You understand? Think about YouTube. Several years ago, they were allowing a lot of copyright protected content. They were making tons of money, right? Anyway, just want to mention that. Okay, so this is the NBC News.
We'll get that interest rate cut, but again, on the calendar, we're going to be looking at least another 6 to 8 weeks.
This guy is from Yahoo Finance. Wait a second. What is this? This is a guy from Yahoo Finance.
Now, with the very latest is NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. Brian.
Wow, they put this guy, he's an NBC News and business correspondent. Well, that tells you, folks, he's a fucking Yahoo Finance clown.
This is not a major surprise, right? You have been sitting here telling us for months that an interest rate might happen in September. I don't think you ever said in July. Is that still the thinking?
Yeah, and by the way, that next meeting is going to be the next, or rather has not cut interest rate. And the reason why it's down to such going sideways.
We're going to try and get to what the stock is. I don't want to listen to this garbage. Let's see here.
Soon, and then continue cuts over the next year or two. One stock category is going to go through the roof because of this. But first, I want to thank and introduce sponsor of this video, Land of Land, which is America's premier...
Never heard of it, but you better believe it's a scam. You better fucking believe, folks, anything these motherfuckers endorse on ScamTube is a scam or scammy. All affiliate links, scams, scam. I even pointed out, even something you would think is not a scam, like these VPNs, Nord. Folks, I got scammed by Nord. Okay? Remember, if you are providing money for affiliate marketing, they're going to get that money back, a lot more too. Anyway, let's listen to this. Land of Land.
Land wholesaler. Looking to diversify your portfolio? Consider vacant land. Including land assets can help spread risk across different...
Stupid airhead. Folks, you probably didn't know this, and I guess you didn't hear this from the real estate experts. You know, the guys who are failed real estate agents who call themselves experts in real estate. No, you're a sales boy. That's like a car salesman claiming to be a auto analyst, right? You got it. Undeveloped land is one of the most risky types of investments in existence. In existence. You got it? Undeveloped land, and this guy's pitching you, yeah, you want to diversify your portfolio with one of the most risky types of investments in existence, undeveloped land.
Asset classes and hedge against market volatility because, as you know, land is a limited resource. I like this as an option for investing, but I also like this as an option for someone to be able to buy land and then be able to build the house of their dreams for later on. Land of Land streamlines the buying process, keeping costs low and transactions quick. You can even handle everything remotely, often in just a day. Go to this link to register for their next auction at landoflandauction.auctiontext.com. The link is found down in my description, and be sure to enter code PROFG, P-R-O-F-G, to receive a $300 reduction on your total invoice on land you win and purchase through its auction. As Mark Twain famously said, buy land, they're not making more. So the one stock category that's going to increase the most, in my opinion, is going to be one that has to do with something that's very variable and has to do with what happens when the Fed rate goes up.
So notice this shot here, he's got the books closer, right? Folks, remember, when there's somebody that's always trying to convince you that of something, well, I've got a lot of money, you know, the Lambo, right? The lifestyle, look at my house, look at my bank account, look at this, right? Oh, I read a lot of books. You understand? They don't have a fucking leg to stand on. They don't have the goods. You understand? It's an obvious giveaway that they're a scammer.
Or comes down. So it's very contingent on that actual rate. And that would be anything having to do with real estate. Investing within the world of real estate is very solid, and there's a lot of great options, but one of my favorites is called a REIT. REITs have crazy high dividends, so you can live off passive income with these.
Notice he said passive income. Let's listen again.
You can live off passive income with
the emphasis, passive, like Graham Stephan, con artist tactic. So let me just mention, folks, there's no such thing as passive income. I've mentioned it before. In fact, I'm going to be doing, I've got a video from a couple of years ago from Graham Stephan, his little passive income scam. I'll be releasing that one. With very rare exception, there's no such thing as passive income. If you buy a REIT, it's not passive. Why? Folks, you can't just buy it and forget it. You're talking about several companies in that REIT, and you have to look and see what's going on to make sure that there's not a disaster. You have to oversee your investments, okay? And also you have to find that first REIT anyway to begin with. There's no passive. That's a bunch of bullshit. But you know, that sells. It's passive, okay, I don't have to do anything. It's no work. So he's saying that REITs are gonna explode. And they're going to explode, right?
These, and they let you invest in real estate.
Let me just tell you something, folks. This is absolutely not true. First of all, interest rates are not expected to go down by that much. I would say at most over the next 2 years, 250 basis points, barring a recession. And that's not a whole lot, considering that for the past, let's say, decade prior to 2022, on average in the U.S., we were looking at, let's call it 75 basis points on interest rates. So we're going back down to say 3.5%. No, the REITs aren't going to fucking explode. And by the way, FYI, if you knew basic investing, you could easily say the same thing about bonds. In fact, it's actually more appropriate to say about bonds. Why? Because, folks, we're in the midst of a real estate problem. In fact, of course, he's not going to talk about this because he didn't know his head from his ass. None of these fucking YouTubers do. In fact, I'm not going to even mention it because I don't want to educate Tom Nash and all these other fraudsters who are going to be watching this video. I'm not going to talk about it. But my point is that I will mention this, though, is that obviously there's problems in real estate, right? In fact, you have REITs that have severe issues depending upon the types of properties or the types of real estate investments that they are engaged in, right? Because there's not just, there's several different types of REITs. You all know that, right? There's mortgage REITs, there's property REITs. There's triple net or triple or lease REITs. There's a kind of hybrid REITs as well. And there's many other types of REITs. There's even REITs for cell towers. There's all types of REITs. My point is that because of this real estate issue that we're in, you can't just blindly select a REIT and think it's gonna go crazy. It's gonna soar. Okay, generic horseshit. That's what this guy. It's basically an opportunity, clickbait, fake news, clickbait. Why? It's all about selling you this fucking affiliate link. That's what it's about, folks. Just like the same reason Kevin is always making stupid videos. Okay, Tom Nash. It's all an opportunity to get you there. Tom Nash can promote his Patreon, his scam Patreon, because he's obviously a fraud. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Kevin, he can sell his courses, tell you to buy his courses. You all understand. These guys are fake news fraudsters. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look here. I want to see what else this channel has. And so he wants to tell you how much you need to live comfortably. I love it. These guys, they make videos telling you how much you need to retire. The first question is, did they ever work as a professional financial advisor? Right? How do they know this? Right? Just clickbait horseshit. Right? Scammer. That's what you are, buddy. Okay. Oh, here we go. Get in early. Early, yeah! 8 best ETFs under $100. I don't know what this, let's see what it is. So basically, ask yourself, I'm not going to watch this video. The guy's obviously a mental midget and a scammer. And he's always got his books out there. Look at that. I mean, this is his studio. Like these are his props. His Rich Dad Poor. I mean, are you kidding me? Dude, are you like 10 years old? I mean, really? So anyway, I'm not going to watch this. I don't need to. I know the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But here's the sad thing. The scary thing is that ask yourself who's going to bring up this point. Nobody else on YouTube is going to bring this up. People watching or people that want to expose this guy. Okay? Because they don't know. The most obvious thing, what I see in this title, what does it matter the price of the ETF? Like, why would you, that's like saying the same thing for a stock. The price doesn't matter. And in fact, it especially doesn't matter these days because even if you want to consider price, you can buy slices, right? Just about every brokerage firm I know sells stocks by slices. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. So you understand, this is the crowd he's attracting. We're talking the lowest fucking hanging fruit. Okay? The lowest fucking hanging fruit. All the way for him to, what is this bullshit? Short form. Oh, God. So, you see, I guess he didn't even read these fucking books. He just, like, read summaries. Wow. What a loser. Oh, and here's all his... Okay. Okay, so before we move on, let me... because we're going to watch this video. Patrick Bet David with our favorite goofy guy, Tom Bilyeu. And so I saw this title and I was like, what? I got to do a stream on this because my biggest fear is a reverse market crash. Prepare for this now before 2029. So I saw this and I'm like, okay, so Patrick Bet David now is positioning himself as some type of a investment genius. Like, folks, I'm probably the best market forecaster in the world. And by the way, in case you don't know, if you can forecast the market, you're super, super, super big swinging dick. because the market determines the move most of the time in most of the stocks. Okay, but as a well-known market forecaster, okay, I take offense at this plebe coming here and telling us that there's going to be some type of a reverse crash. I guess he's talking about like the market's going to soar or whatever, right? So think about it. You got this MLM guy, MLM scammer, who's basically deceiving everybody. Just about everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is somehow exaggerated or manipulated, especially when it comes to him, his so-called success. He's a con artist. Okay, he's lying. Everything from his fake books, his fake reviews, his fake house. It's not even his. It's fucking companies. All this shit. He's making money off of YouTube. Okay, he's taking the cash flow from his company, which he claims he sold, didn't sell it. He's another lie. Why? Because he knows it's going nowhere. He's using that cash flow to pump it into YouTube, claiming he's claiming tax deductions, right? Why? Because he's building his so-called brand. I hate using that for people, but that's what they use these days. Why? Because he's selling you all this expensive shit, right? You all don't know about all these fucking conferences he has. His one-on-one mentoring. I mean, he's a big swinging dick. He tells you he's worth $200 million, yet you can get a mentoring with him one-on-one. What? Fucking scammer. Obvious scammer. But anyway, before we play this video, because I haven't listened to it, I don't know to what extent we're going to listen to it, but before we play it, I'm going to go ahead and, let's start. I'm going to go ahead and ask us any questions on any recent videos. Let's go ahead and open with this. This is a good opening here, isn't it?
Real estate's freaking easy because I look at this stuff and I go, I know what to do. Stocks, I don't know. So don't ever expect Meet Kevin to sell you a stock investing course. Hey everyone, thank you so much for considering this program on Mastering Your Money. You're here because you want to grow your net worth. At least that's what I'm guessing, because who doesn't want a larger net worth?
Hi, it's Vince with Sham Wow. You'll be saying wow every time you use this towel. It's like a chamois, it's like a towel, it's like a sponge.
Getting out of that paycheck to paycheck trap, and maybe even retiring early, well,
this is for the house, the car, the boat, the RV.
Do you feel like you are on a mission? A mission to not only be self-sustained, but to feel free and have that freedom of choice to do whatever you want because you have wealth to back you up. If you want to retire, you want to start a new business, you want to invest in an opportunity, you want to make sure you can be there for your family or your friends, well, hey.
Why do you want to work twice as hard? Doesn't trip. Doesn't make a mess, wring it out, you wash it in the washing machine.
To ultimately grow your net worth because it enables so many freedoms.
If you want to become financially independent, come to my seminar. Let me show you how to make the fortune you have always dreamed about.
But maybe right now you feel trapped by that paycheck to paycheck loop and you wish you could get off that sort of hamster wheel.
Are you sick and tired of where you are, working hard for years for nothing? Are you excited about watching my student making a fortune on TV? You know, many of these people started out with little or no cash and no credit, no experience.
Or maybe you're already...
I must say, what a brilliant video I created there. Hope you all saw that. Brilliant. Okay, so how about Tom Nash? Let's take a look at these comments here and address this learning point. This was from a couple of years ago. And of course, this was not, I've exposed Nash many times specifically. This wasn't really one of those. But let's see here. So here we go. So basically, you got this guy. Obviously, this guy, he's got confirmation bias. He owns Palantir. Bullshit company. This company, folks, when you have a company that's pumped by a bunch of twerps to Kathy Woodstock, and, you know, it's obvious to me there's a lot of shenanigans going on with this company. You got the CEO who sold, and he keeps selling stock. He sold $1 billion within the first 2 years. I mean, why would he do that? Right? Such a great company. course, Tom Nash pumped this to $500, telling it's going to go to $1 trillion market cap. And so you can see this. He's like, oh, okay, I don't watch Tom Nash, but it's up 100% year to date. So you want to pick a specific point in time and tell me it's up year to date? Like, I can do that for almost any stock at any point, right? Can we not? Right? Year to date. The problem is it's just now where Tom Nash was pumping it. Nash was pumping it here, all the way down. Okay? You got it. So that's the first stupidity. That's just fucking stupid when you're pointing out something like that. I'm sorry. That's just dumb. It really is. Okay. So that's the first dumb thing. And so just because it got tangled doesn't mean it isn't a legit company. So the response is, first of all, okay, you don't watch Tom, so how do you know I'm wrong, right? So in other words, this guy, folks, I'm giving you a tutorial here on, like, this is a typical person is so lacking in logic. It's just, it's startling. It's a kind of a crisis for the world. This is typical. So let's take a look at the title. The title is Palantir Pumper and Fraud Tom Nash Using Bogus Valuation. Is the title Palantir is a scam company? No, it's not. What is his response? His response is basically, first, he doesn't watch Tom Nash, okay? But Palantir is legit, right? Basically, that's what he's saying. You understand what I'm saying? You all got it? Yes, no? You can chime in with the yes and the no. You see what I'm saying? So he doesn't even address the point of the video. Now, in the video, I'm sure I mentioned Palantir's bullshit company, scam company, but that wasn't the focus of the video. The focus of the video was pointing out how Tom Nash is fucking incompetent, right? He's incompetent. So he wants to pump Palantir. And so I explained to him that if he doesn't watch Nash, how does he know that I'm wrong about Nash? That, once again, this is the point of the video. Tom Nash is a Palantir pumper fraud using bogus valuation, right? So there you go. Next, I pointed out that Nash was pumping it all the way down from $35. Shares are only where they were a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. And then I talk more about Nash, why he's clueless, so on and so forth. I forgot to mention they were pumping it to $500. Okay. So, second comment. Okay. He's literally picked 3 of the best companies to invest in the last 3 years. No, he hasn't. Think about it. Palantir. So Palantir. First of all, let's take it one by one. And I didn't even mention this. Palantir has been one of the best companies to invest in the last 3 years. Has it really? I mean, this tells you. I mean, sorry, ma'am, or sorry, you're a guy. Sorry, sir. Past 3 years. Let's see. 24. No. I think your timing is off. See that? So, first of all, Tesla, of course, as I mentioned, folks, every single rugrat, and that's what I call these idiots, rugrats, fake investment gurus, they were all pumping Tesla because Cathie Wood was pumping it. Why did they know? Well, because Cathie Wood was being pumped in the media. So everybody was pumping Tesla. Okay? NVIDIA, he just now started pumping at the top, I might add. Okay? So all that aside, all that argument aside, let's push that aside. Let's just assume that you didn't hear that argument. Okay? Let's just assume you didn't hear that argument. You can go ahead and read this now. Well, I prompt her. It's the greatest education and investment she's ever going to get. Okay? Number one, first of all, look at who I am. It's important, right? I always tell you guys, if you got someone making these claims, who am I? You don't know anything about me. Look at who I am. I've got the description there. And I told her about how Nash just started pumping NVIDIA after it was $3 trillion market cap, or maybe close to 3 trillion or near 3 trillion, right? I explained about Tesla. I explained about Palantir. Okay. And then finally, equating a stock price to credibility is an argument a child would make, right? Just because if the stocks have been doing well, that doesn't mean that he's not a clown. First of all, where did he get his ideas? He could have just copied off me or anyone else, right? What you do is you look at his whole assessment. He's a fraud. He's a complete fraud. But Chris doesn't know this, because Chris doesn't realize, he probably doesn't understand, that when Tom, and by the way, Tom Nash doesn't seem to go through discount cash flow valuation anymore. I think he does it in his Patreon probably. He doesn't do it in the public. You know why? Because you notice Tom Nash has become like a clickbait guy now. Just all he does is clickbait. He rarely analyzes stocks. I think, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't watched his videos, but it seems like it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because I think he realized that he's an open target. I mean, Tom, don't worry. I'm the only person with the expertise, probably on YouTube, to reveal you being a fraud. Okay. So, there you have it. Any questions about any of these fake gurus? Any doubters here? Any doubters you can answer? Okay, you can feel free to post in the comments. Any doubters? Any questions? Huh? Any questions? Huh? Any questions as to my claims about? And this is just an opinion. It's my opinion. I'm an expert opinion. I believe I'm the only person that truly predicted the financial crisis. I have not seen any evidence that contradicts that. And I've explained why, right? I've explained why. Okay? Any questions on that at all? Any questions? Okay, folks, if you're like I have made in a image before showing Michael Burry, if you're watching Hollywood movies to get your rendition, what you think is true, what happened in reality, you're the dumb money. Everything in the media is to some degree fake. It's a Hollywood production, everything. Okay? And I can tell you, okay, you make a trade, that's not a prediction. You all understand what a true forecast is, a prediction. We're not talking about, oh, this is going to happen. No, if you're going to you understand the bad logic. Just because somebody makes a bet, right, and that bet turns out nicely because there's a collapse, doesn't mean that they realize there's going to be a financial crisis. If they knew there's going to be a financial crisis, they were confident. Number one, they would have come out and presented their thesis in advance and told the world, and or wrote a book. They hid everything. Number two, they would have bet against also the GSEs. Okay? You understand? Right? Government-sponsored entities. Or, sorry, enterprises. Okay? Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. The government-backed agency. The AAA rated mortgage securities. Investment grade. The highest investment grade. They would have shorted those. They didn't do it. They would have shorted the banks like I recommended. They didn't do it. And if they were really sharp, really fucking sharp, they would have also shorted General Electric and General Motors, like I pointed to in my book. Because I knew that they were essentially they'd morphed into consumer finance companies with a mountain of debt that was going to implode. Instead, they bet against subprimes. Subprime means junk bond, essentially. You can think of it as junk bond. It's low credit rated debt. So, if you just think that there's going to be a recession coming, the easiest bet to make, if you want to take that strategy, if you want to bet against something in the fixed income market, is you're going to bet against the lowest credit rated bonds. Why? Because they're going to have the most severe defaults. You understand? They're going to have the highest defaults. So you're going to make the most money. You all understand. You've never heard this anywhere before other than me. Why? Why? Folks, who's the real fucking big swinging dick? Who's the real expert out there? I'm the guy that fucking predicted the whole thing. Of course I know this. I mean, I could have made it easy on myself and just predicted and just told people to short the subprimes. No. I had the balls of fucking titanium. Boom! And I said, Fannie and Freddie are going to go bankrupt and get bailed out by the government. And I even showed the charts and recommended to short them. You understand? And I put it in a book. You put it in a book, you can't take it back, folks. In advance. 2 years before. Or a year and a half before. Okay? You all. I could go through and argue more and more. Anybody that wants to debate me will get a neutral party. Okay? I'm the only person that fucking predicted it. Truly. Certainly the most accurate. Nobody can come close. And I'm the guy that got banned. And even after all that happened, I'm still banned. Ask yourself why. You starting to see what's going on, folks? You got it? No, I wouldn't recommend going back to getting a degree in chemistry. Obviously, let me ask you, have you read the 2006 original extended version of America's Financial Apocalypse? I take it you haven't. Folks, let me just tell you something right now. That's the first thing. You should be getting your hands on every fucking thing I've ever written. Okay? Because you see, you're used to horse shit. My stuff doesn't expire. A video I make, an audio I make, an article I write, chances are probably 95% of those publications are going to be valuable for a long time. I'm not going to put out anything unless it's valuable. You understand? Go on Amazon, man. Get the extended version. I point to that why. Because you're asking me something about a career, right? So you're asking me this critical decision, this life-changing decision, potential life-changing decision. Now, maybe you would not have seen that reading America's Financial Apocalypse, but you certainly would see some other things. You would understand how things work. For instance, did you know you're basically, I mean, this is not rocket science. I mean, everybody should know this. In America, if you don't have a job, you don't have health insurance. Okay? Basically. You don't have a job, you don't have health insurance because it's so expensive to pay for your own health insurance. But anyway, here's my answer, and here's why I mentioned my book. The overwhelming theme of that book throughout the entire book, of course, you know, the real estate part, that was a focus. That was a big focus on one chapter, but many things were leading up to that. But one thing throughout the whole book was a common theme because it explained where America was headed, was the free trade issue with China especially. And my point, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because understanding what has happened with free trade, I was banned alone just from that. They don't want people to know about that. But understanding what's happened with free trade gives you the answer. And what I mean by that is that, let me give you a little example, a little story here. When I graduated with my BS in chemistry a long time ago, and this was a long time ago, okay? I don't know when it was, 1980s or something. So think back to what average pay was back then, right? At median salary, it wasn't that much. I mean, what's the median salary now? Like 60,000, 70,000, I don't know. Back then, we'll call it 40 years ago. Okay? Undergraduate degree in chemistry. I had job offers, and I wasn't even like on the market. I just went to they told you, go, there's job fair, you should go. I just went. I had an offer, one in particular that I remember, okay, for $40,000. That's a lot of money for an undergrad degree in chemistry. That's a lot of money for any degree back then. especially undergrad. Okay, I don't know what that would be in today's dollars. Okay, but that's a lot. My point is that that's gone. Why? Because of free trade. Okay. In fact, what has typically been, and you know, you have to understand, to really put that into perspective, you have to understand that people who study science don't say, okay, I'm gonna get an undergrad degree and then I'm gonna go in the workforce. No. If you're gonna get an undergrad degree in science, a BS, if you're gonna get a BS, that's you know, a BS is like the hardcore. BA that's like for fucking people that want to do allied health. They don't have to take the hard courses, okay? BA, you can't get into grad school with a BA, which, by the way, I'm not going to say 100% you can't, but typically you cannot, which is interesting because Elon Musk claims he got a BA in physics, and then he claims he got accepted into Stanford. I don't know about that. I don't even know. I still even question if he got a BA in physics. But anyway, that's part of his whole, you know, chicanery. But anyway, so my point is that if you want to be a chemist, you don't say, okay, I'm going to get a BS and I'm going to go work. That's why I was already going to grad school. Okay, I just wait for the hell of it. So that's why that's a shitload of money. Because typically, if you're going to work in industry, let's say, you got to have at least a master's. I mean, you don't have to, but it's, you know, it's typical. Or PhD. I mean, when you're dealing with pure science, you know, most people want a PhD. Okay? So my point is this. My point is I would not go into college and study chemistry unless you really, you know, I mean, I never made a penny off of learning chemistry other than maybe if you count, you know, like, I guess as a when I was paid to teach or some other, but basically I never pursued that as a career, but I would never trade it in the world for the knowledge that I gained. Like, I know stuff that the vast majority of people don't know. Like, I know incredible things. I still know a lot of stuff from a long time, you know, in my grad studies, you know, and also what it enabled me to develop my mind. Okay. You think very clearly. You think really, you know, deep thoughts, very sharp. Why do you think Wall Street wants guys with quant degrees? They want guys that study physics and chemistry. Okay. Physics, chemistry, math, right? So I just don't think the job opportunities are there. And it's because of free trade, essentially. Okay. That's the deal. That's the deal. So, yeah. And, you know, chemistry is not easy. You know, that's not something, folks, there's a lot of people that can never, that it's impossible for them to pass the coursework. Okay. And we're not just talking general chemistry. That's the easy shit. So, I mean, you gotta, you know, it's, you know, you're going to quit your job and gamble that you're going to make it through the chemistry curriculum and do well enough to, you know, no, that's just not a good decision at all. Okay. It's not a good decision. You know, if you're telling me, you know, you want to get a chemistry degree or physics degree or even philosophy degree, you know, philosophy degree, not too employable, but I think it's good for the mind. Assuming you go to a good program, good school, it's good for the mind. You know, if you want to learn, pursue those type of majors to improve your mind, that's another story. I mean, certainly that will do it, no doubt about it. But that's a hell of a lot of work and a hell of a lot of time and a hell of a lot of money for that purpose. Okay. Well, the real coursework in chemistry begins in physical chemistry, especially when you're in a BS. Because when you're in a BS degree, Bachelor of Science, you're taking physical chemistry with chemical engineers who have already had in their so they've already had a lot of that. They've already had like the first semester. They don't take the second semester. The first semester is thermodynamics, basically. So you're taking it with chemical engineers who have already had thermodynamics in their engineering department. So you're at a big disadvantage. Okay. So, but anyway. So any questions on the scammers? Any questions on these scammers? Any doubts? You'll understand. You'll understand how it all works, the whole circle jerk. Have you started looking at the channels? Understand, some guys don't create a external circle jerk on YouTube. So for instance, Tom Nash doesn't really interview many people, right? But he's in kind of a circle jerk. What Tom Nash does is he goes behind everyone's back internally, and he emails people and gets in their good graces. So he kind of tries to befriend them, especially for people who he thinks might expose him. This is the sneaky thing that this guy does. Okay? So, I don't know who the most dangerous scammer is on YouTube. It's hard to say that. I don't know that there is a most dangerous scammer. Because a scammer is a scammer. Remember, what's the end result of a scam? You lose your ass, right? That's like asking me, what's the worst way to die or to get killed? It doesn't really matter if you're going to die on that day, right, or get killed on that day, right? You understand. It's the end result that matters. You see, if you're getting scammed, if you're getting deceived, you're getting scammed. You see? So I think this is the mistake that a lot of people make. Oh, well, this guy's not as bad as this guy. Folks, if they don't have a basis, at least a basis for potentially having a competitive advantage, they can arm you, right? Help you. Then why are they selling their shit? Why are they pretending to be an expert? This is the whole scam. You see? So, any other questions on the scammers? I mean, look, they all have their different pitch, their different MO. Okay? They all have their different MO. You've got the YouTuber guys that are absolute frauds. And this is why Kevin got licensed, and he's probably going to eventually open a financial firm. He's like modeling. Kevin is modeling the biggest grifters. He's modeling Grant Cardone. He's modeling Ross Gerber, right? So he thinks he's going to get credible because of that. No, passing a fucking stupid test doesn't make you credible. Kevin will never be credible, ever. It doesn't matter what he does, what he ever learns. Nothing. He began as a scammer. Okay, he's a total scammer. So you got the YouTube scammer guys, right? And then you've got the Kevins, right? You got the personal finance guys, Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, and this one new guy I showed you. That's another little ploy, right? What's their ploy? Well, they even eventually get into pitching stocks and stuff, right? But it's all about, and they all selling courses, okay? But then you got, on the other hand, you've got guys that are, I don't want to say Peter Schiff is legitimate, but in some sense he is, because he has a real business. He has a brokerage firm. He's been in the business a long time, right? So, he's in the business, right? And he's not coming online and doing that. But he is obviously trying to pitch his game. And obviously, this is where he becomes illegitimate. When you hear some of the things that come out of his mouth, okay? Just complete batshit crazy stuff. Like, gold is real money, right? Oh, the dollar's not worth anything, right? This and that and so forth. And then you look at his track record, which is one of the worst in the world, you see. But at the end of the day, they're all the same. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you listen to. You're going to be in the fucking sewer. And guess what happens when you get into the sewer? Well, actually, I should say you're going to go in the gutter. They're going to push you into the gutter. Okay, you know where the gutter goes to, right? The gutter leads to the fucking sewer. And you know where the sewer goes? It's where all the shit goes. Okay? You understand? They all have their own little deal. Okay? All these guys, folks, you name to me people in the media. This is what I'm saying. And by the way, I showed you, Kevin follows Peter Schiff. He's buddies with him. Kevin idolizes Peter. He wants to be Peter Schiff. You understand? Okay? So, I mean, if you could say, maybe Kevin, you could say, is the most dangerous. Because Kevin's aspirations for becoming the ultimate hyper scam artist is, I mean, some of these guys, they turned into scam artists. Was it premeditated? I don't know. Maybe some know. But Kevin, I mean, look at the guy. But the bottom line doesn't matter. Okay? If you're following someone like this, all these guys, where do you think you're going to end up? Okay? And the vast majority of people don't realize it. Why? Well, folks, it's the same thing. Take a look who's watching YouTube. Okay? You get a certain group of people who watch YouTube. That's the same group of people who uses Facebook and other social media. And then you got the other group of people, the very wealthy people, and the people behind the scenes, the people that are making all the money. Right? They're not on Facebook for the most part. Right? They know better. Okay? They're not on YouTube. You see? So, you've got, they all have their little MO. Okay? Show me somebody who's credible. Okay? Now, you have these guys, and by the way, I'm talking the media too. Show me someone who's a regular fixture in the media that's credible. I don't know of anybody. And I've been monitoring it for 2 decades. 99% of the people in the media, and I hate to say mainstream media because then you say, oh yeah, well, it's better on YouTube. Oh my God. YouTube's a billion times worse. Understand, these guys on YouTube, where do you think they get their ideas from? The media. They follow CNBC. They follow Scamberg, all this stuff. Right? So, but 99% of the people on the media, they're not credible. Every once in a while, they'll have a person that's credible, like from a Wall Street firm, and even not necessarily are they credible. They're from a Wall Street firm, and they're not necessarily legit. I'll be releasing a video pretty soon. I released it on my site where I think I already released it actually, where I show how Wall Street kind of tricks people. And I gave the example of Mike Wilson, the chief strategist at Morgan Stanley. He was the guy that was awarded the top strategist by Institutional Investor of 2022. Why? Because he was bearish on the market. I'm the top guy, folks. I got people out. That's in my research, and I nailed the bottom in October. By June, I put out the bottoms of the markets, and then nailed it in October. Mike Wilson didn't do that. Mike Wilson stayed a bear, and he stayed a bear in 2023, and he's still a bear in 2020. You understand? He fucked up. That's why he got demoted. They pushed him over to another division because clients listened to him and they missed out on that huge rally. Okay? You understand? But a year before, he was the best guy in the world. Okay? So even these guys, these Wall Street guys, are clowns. David Costin, Goldman Sachs, same fucking thing. Okay? Same thing. And so, you know, and that's the best of it. That's the best when you're talking about, you know, clowns like Noel Roubini, you know, Mark Faber and all these CNBC clowns and all this crap. I'm telling you, folks, Jim Rogers. You all saw the video, the recent video on Jeff Gundlach, right? I mean, you see it? Everybody see it? I don't think many people saw it. Let's take a quick look here. Now, you all know who Jeff Gundlach is, right? You notice all these guys are, you probably don't know, but I'll just go ahead and spill the beans. They all have one thing in common. They all have one thing in common. Okay? You understand? It's called discrimination. Keep the money with our buddies and screw everybody else because we have a war against everybody who's not like us. And that explains all the social movements and everything that's going on. I won't get into that because, you know, this is ScamTube and I can't talk about that. But take a look at this guy. He's the guy, he's the latest guy, like Michael Burry, right? Jeff Gundlach says the market's going to collapse, right? He's in all the headlines. Wow, they're interviewing him. Wow, he must be, I hear about him all the time. You understand what I'm saying? You all see the video I made on Superman, Investment Superman? Did you all see that video? My point is, no matter who it is, you know, several years ago, it was, I mean, Peter Schiff's still making the waves. They're still giving the promo. I think he's paying for it now. But, you know, several years ago, Peter Schiff, you know, Jim Rogers, right? Mark Faber. Jeff Gundlach is going to be the newer guy. Okay? They're always going to have someone to replace these guys. You understand? It's a perpetual fucking loop. Once people realize they're fucking broken clock charlatans, then the media kind of gets, because once people realize it, they're not going to line up for the interviews. They're not going to read the articles. They're not going to watch you. And then the media doesn't get advertising revenue. They don't create dumb money. You understand? But as long as the people don't fucking realize it, they'll keep using the guy. And he loves it because he gets millions of dollars of free promotion for his fund. Oh, well, he says, I like what he says. I think he's right. I'm going to buy his fund. I'm going to buy his book. You got it? You got it? You got it? You got it? Folks, I've been around the game a long time. I know how it works, okay? Harry Dent was the guy. Harry Dent was the Wall Street golden child 25 years ago. They loved him because he was pumping, telling everyone the Dow's going to 40,000. Okay? He was a fucking shill for mutual funds. Okay? And then it was David Tice. He was a fucking clown. Made him like a legend, like he did something. He didn't do anything. What did David Tice? David Tice made several hundred millions of dollars. How? Well, because he predicted the collapse in Enron. Wow, he's a bear guy. He made all these bear, so he created these bear mutual funds based upon his celebrity media status. Celebrity media status. That's a term I created. Celebrity media status. They're a celebrity based upon their media status. Same thing with the fucking reality TV, right? All these scammers, they're real estate shows. They fucking scam people after they're, right? They use their celebrity status to create businesses. David Tice used his celebrity media status from CNBC as the bear guy to make a fortune. Because why? Because he launched these mutual funds that were bear funds. All bear funds, all mutual funds with a bear strategy are always huge losers. You will always lose your fucking ass. I'm not going to get into why, but it should be obvious why. Okay? He made $200 or $300 million selling that to PIMCO. Okay? Even though the performance was dog shit, was terrible. People were losing money. But guess what? You know how the fund industry works? You know how this industry works? It doesn't matter. They're buying the suckers. They're buying the assets. Okay? So you can say, well, gosh, how can he have $2 billion in those funds? The performance over 10, 20 years is minus 3%. Okay? How is this possible? Because they're still charging fees, still generating revenues. That's all they care about. So he can sell that. That's what they're selling. Just like in the business. If you're working as a stockbroker, financial advisor, you got your book of business. Okay, you want to go to another firm. You take your book over there, and they're going to give you a bonus based upon the assets you're bringing over. You see, even though there's no guarantees, they're going to give you a fee based on that. You got it? So my point is that David Tice made a fortune, even though he lost people money. Why? Because the people that bought his fund were stupid, and they believed the media. They believed his celebrity status. Jeff Gundlach's doing that now. Peter Schiff did that. You'll understand. Folks, it's a repeating thing in the media. No one else has ever said this. Have you ever heard anyone? No. I'm the guy that's been exposing this fucking scam. And tell you what, I wouldn't have known a lot of things if the media didn't ban me. Okay, like this whole media scam. So take a look. Take a look. It's short, don't worry.
Can you spot a con artist? Con artists are experts in creating the right appearance. They not only look the part, but are skillful, fast talkers. They'll play the role of the expert. Can you spot a con artist?
Now, somebody, by the way, pointed in the comment section that, oh my gosh, have you seen these funds? There's I can't believe they're charging 1%. The fees that Bill Gross was charging in his bond fund, they were extraordinarily high. And if you factored in everything, I can't remember. I wrote an article about it like 15 years ago. I want to say that they were like 2.5%, maybe 3% or so. And the problem with that is that, think about it for a second. If it's fixed income, then for the most part, the ceiling in the performance that you're going to deliver is capped. You understand? If it's an equity fund, we don't know. It can go pretty damn high, possibly. But if it's a bond fund, it can only go so high. Okay? Add to that the fact that Bill Gross was managing mainly investment-grade bonds. So you definitely have a certain ceiling as to how much returns you can get. I estimated basically that based upon the potential theoretical high point that you could get in his fund, that he was charging close to 50% of the gross returns he was getting in fees, which is criminal. That's why I called the SEC. And they told me, oh, it's in the prospectus. So that's what I was talking about with high fees. I hope you'll understand that. Anyway, so let me just explain one more thing, okay? Has Gundlach ever come out and said, oh, by the way, guys, I've got funds, but this is not a good time to be buying my funds because you don't want to buy because most of his funds, of course, he's such a loser. He keeps launching new types of funds and over different periods. He wants to, if the fund's gone down, launch it during this period. Maybe this is the time it's going to start doing well, right? And he's also launched other funds, even equity funds, leveraging his media celebrity status. But the point is that most of his funds are bond funds, and most of them are, or at least a lot of them are, mortgage REITs. They're kind of mortgage agency bonds. Fannie, Freddie, they're agency bonds, mortgage-backed securities. Okay. So the point is, and you're going to see these funds here in a second. Most of them are mortgage REITs or mortgage bonds. The point is that, let me just give you an example. I mean, it's not, he's a professional, very experienced bond fund manager. I'm not a fixed income expert, okay? But you don't have to be to know some basic things, such as, for instance, if you're going to encounter a period of increasing interest rates, you don't want to be buying bonds, okay? Got it? You don't want to be buying bonds. You want to be buying bonds, generally speaking, closer towards the ending of those rate hikes, so you can lock in those rates. Now, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different caveats there. You know, when you're considering the duration, short duration, long durations, I'm not going to get into that. The bottom line is just generally speaking, though, you want to buy bonds if you want bonds, which is a whole other topic of discussion. But you want to buy after the rates have peaked out or close to that. My point is that rates were starting to increase around 2018 or so, right? And so they were already starting. Jeffrey Gundlach, and of course we had also the Fed came out definitively, late 2021 and said, look, we're going to be raising rates. At no point in time did Jeffrey Gundlach say, hey, you know what? It's not a good time to be buying our bond funds because you're going to get fucking massacred. It's exactly why his funds have gotten massacred. Okay? I mean, how come no one else has ever said this? I mean, he knows his funds are going to get fucking massacred. How come no financial professionals are telling you this? Oh, well, you've got Patrick Boyle, the hedge fund manager. Oh, you got Plain Bagel. He's an analyst. Fucking clowns. Both of them. They're fucking clowns. They don't know jack shit. But they want to tell you that they're something that they're not. Patrick Boyle's not a hedge fund manager. He's a former hedge fund manager, a failed manager. Plain Bagel's not an analyst. No, you're not an analyst. Are you licensed as an analyst? You get the license? Do you do analysis professionally on a daily basis? Just because you analyze stocks, everybody analyzes stocks. No. Where's your research department? Where's your fucking publications? You understand? It's all about exaggerating, right? Get the views, get the subscribers, sell the ads. Dishonesty to make money, deception to make money equals fraud. Makes you a scammer. Everybody clear on that?
You spot a con artist? Con artists are experts in creating the right appearance. They not only look the part, but are skillful, fast talkers. They'll play the role of the expert.
You see that, folks? You can see right here. Take a look. You see how these funds have collapsed? See how they're collapsing right in 2022? You see that? See that? Because of interest rates. Okay? Got it? He knows this. And by the way, let me just mention, because I talked about this before. And this is the trick that ETFs use. And also Peter Schiff. This is the trick that these guys use. They have different funds and different asset classes. They'll say, well, this fund is doing well, right? I mean, at any point in time, if you're covering all asset classes, you have a fund that covers all, you're going to have a fund that's doing well at some point in time, right? My point is that if you are a financial advisor, have a brokerage firm, and you have financial advisors there, and you sell mutual funds, whether they're from another company or they're your own companies, okay? There's a broker involved. It's that broker's responsibility to tell you, hey, you shouldn't be in this asset class. Shift over to this one, because you can change in the same fund family without paying any exit fees or anything like that. Even if you're dumb enough to pay a front or back loaded fund. So my point is that the financial advisor is not doing their role, their job, and this is why the ETFs are wonderful for Cathie Wood, right? I mentioned this in another video. If you went to a financial advisor, all these idiots think they're going to get rich buying Cathie Wood. You know, it's good to go through a financial advisor. Financial advisor would have said, hey, you know what? This shit's risky. Okay, because see, you're paying that financial advisor something. If you buy the ETF through the financial advisor, you're probably not paying the financial advisor. You might be paying the financial advisor, say, a fee on your whole assets or something else. Okay? Imagine how that would save people. Okay? It can save you a lot of money. Folks, sometimes a little bit can save people a shitload of money. It's priceless. You know, kind of, for instance, how I showed everybody a couple of years ago how, you know, why VOO is much better than VT. VT is a fucking garbage. Like if you're in VT and VOO since inception, 10 years or 15 years, you're talking like almost 300% difference in performance. How valuable is that? I'm the first person that points that out. How valuable is that? And I even explained, which no one else knows. I explain why that's the case. I explain why that's the case and why it's not going to change anytime soon. You have to be a world-class expert to know why. Anybody hear that video, hear the explanation? Anybody remember what I said? Why that's the case? Why international stocks haven't done well and aren't going to do well for the foreseeable future, for the most part. Before the financial crisis, there was a different ball game. Why? That was the time to be in emerging markets, as I recommended, okay, in my book. I was recommending China. China soared 300% in like 3 years, okay? After the financial crisis, it's a different story, okay? Why? Well, probably because of, well, there's many things, but quantitative easing is one. And now it's a different story. Emerging markets haven't done as well. And as you can tell now, it's pretty obvious now, they're certainly not going to do well, right? I did mention, I said, look, if you want international exposure, and I mentioned, look, Jack Bogle didn't like international, so it's fucking waste of time, waste of money. And I mentioned, look, you have international exposure in the S&P 500, okay? You want international exposure? Well, you got McDonald's that's in virtually every country. You understand? 40 to 50% of the revenues of the S&P come from international. You've already got international. Why would you want to invest in like companies, like homegrown companies from the Philippines? Really? Really? You understand? You see, the secret that no one's ever told you, because they don't know, because they're not observant, is that the Western world is commercialized. And because it's commercialized, it's more suitable for the stock market, to the detriment of society. The reason why the developing world is in many ways more desirable for us Westerners is because things aren't as commercialized. So you have societies that are still in existence, and you have a healthier environment. On the other hand, the investments aren't as good, but the people are better off. The society is better off. Got it? Clear? I mean, that's a thesis for a whole book in and of itself. So I mentioned, if you want international exposure, do what I do. Buy India. India, I've been recommending India for, 15 years. And now people are starting to see India. Folks, I'm ahead of the curve. I'm the guy that's there first. Boom! Anyway. So just take a look. Let me show you. You see that chart? So notice how it collapses in 2000. Anybody know when the last rate hike was? Last rate hike in America, the Fed, was July 2023. Take a look. See that? Notice how it kind of was a little more kind of a flatlining there in 2020. Stopped kind of going down. The trend stopped. See that? So you guys can watch the rest of this. I'm not going to go through it. You get the point. Okay? You get the point. I mean, honestly, like, it's, you know, I know so much more than anybody I've seen on YouTube. It's not even, I mean, there's not even, it's a fucking joke. That's why I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to, like, educate these motherfuckers. I don't want to do that. They don't know anything. They're fucking clueless. They're idiots. And they're scammers. And they're making all the money. Fucking people. They got to be stopped. They got to be shut. Folks, you guys got to do it. You guys got to make the portal. You guys got to make the websites to post a clearinghouse of evidence on these fuckers. So there's a way for things to be saved and documented and to go back to present a case, to have them shut down. Okay? And once again, I'm going to leave ScamTube. I'm not here spending my time, my valuable time, to help 22 people or 100 people. It's not worth it. My life has more value. Okay? Got it? So it's up to you guys.